أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। मेरा नाम नायला यूसुफ है और हर सैटरडे की तरह मैं आपको इमिग्रेशन स्पेशल प्रोग्राम लेके आपके साथ हाजिर हूँ और हमारा साथ इंशाल्लाह 4 बजे तक रहेगा। इस प्रोग्राम में हम तफसीलात के साथ आपको जो इमिग्रेशन की चेंजेस हैं, तब्दीलियां हैं और जो जो गवर्नमेंट में इम्प्लीमेंटेशंस ला रहे हैं उसमें आपको वो एडवाइस करते हैं और आप मेरे साथ CVFM 104.5 FM पे ये प्रोग्राम सुन रहे हैं और अगर आपको इसके बारे में प्रोग्राम के दौरान कोई सवालात आपके दिमाग में ज़हन में आता है और आपको सोचते हैं कि वी वांट टू आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन, तो आप हमारे स्टूडियो के नंबर पे व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज कर सकते हैं और वो स्टूडियो का नंबर है 01642688104 और ये व्हाट्सएप का नंबर है, CVFM का व्हाट्सएप का नंबर। सो व्हाट्सएप में अगर आप ये नंबर सेव करते हैं 01642688104 तो आप इस नंबर पे मैसेज कर सकते हैं। तो इस मैसेज के साथ फिर आप हमें ये मैसेज पहुंचेगा तो फिर उसके बाद हम आपको सवाल का जवाब इंशाल्लाह या इस प्रोग्राम में या अगले प्रोग्राम में कैसे ये रमजान के रोजे शुरू हुए हैं और अभी हम आधे से भी ज्यादा हमारे रोजे हो गए हैं। कुछ किस्मत है वो लोग, कुछ लोग हैं जो इस साल जो हमारे साथ थे पिछले साल वो इस साल नहीं है और अल्लाह नसीबों से ये दोबारा से हमें ये माह मुबारक नसीब होता है। तो जैसे मैं आपको बता रही थी कि ये इमिग्रेशन का स्पेशल प्रोग्राम है। इस आज के प्रोग्राम में मैं आपको थोड़ी सी जो स्पाउस वीजे के और एक्सटेंशंस के मुताबिक तफसील बताऊंगी। तो आपको तफसील बताऊंगी कि आपको कौन कौन सी डॉक्यूमेंट्स की स्पाउस वीजे के लिए जरूरत होती है और जो है ना जो आपको what documents you need and what documents you will require for further applications. So सबसे पहले जो तब्दीलियां आई हैं, जो implementations we heard on the 5th and 6th of March. Last week प्रोग्राम में आपको मैं काफी आधा घंटा की मैंने आपको तब्दीलियां बताई थी कि what the government is implementing in relation to people here on tier 2 and work permit and work visas, how they're extending the routes to 10 years, which was previously 5 years for indefinite stay and indefinite leave to remain. So the first major change that implemented and the date has also come about of what countries are going to be restricted as well. The first change is the English language test. As I advised you, अभी तो फिलहाल indefinite stay के लिए B1 का टेस्ट है और लाइफ इन द यूके टेस्ट है। लाइफ इन द यूके टेस्ट तो वैसा ही है, वैसा है, लेकिन the B1 test, which was the speaking and listening test, that was first consultation was that it was going to change later on this year. वो मेरे ख्याल में रमजान में सब ने अच्छी से दुआएं की हैं कि इतना जल्दी शायद किसी के वीज़े इस साल खत्म हो रहे हैं और उन्होंने दुआ की अल्लाह ने कबूल किया है। They're not going to be making that change till March next year. So March 2027 is when the B2 test is going to be implemented for indefinite stay, indefinite leave to remain. The previous जो extension के वीजे हैं और spouse वीजे हैं उनके different levels होते हैं। एक तो A1 का वीजा है जो आप उधर से वीजा लेके आते हैं when you come from abroad. Then when you apply at the point of extension after 2.5 years on a spouse visa, it's A2. That's the minimum requirement. If you went and did the B1, that is still acceptable. Yeah? But if the minimum you had to do for an extension is A2, the B1 test was for indefinite stay and naturalization, which is nationality. But if you pass the B1 test and the Life in UK test at the time of indefinite stay and you already met that requirement, then you didn't have to redo it for nationality. अब वही टेस्ट दोबारा nationality के लिए आपके already आपने ये category fill की थी. सो जो B1 का टेस्ट है ना वो अभी मार्च 2027 से खत्म हो जाएगा, तो मार्च 2027 से आपको B2 का टेस्ट देना पड़ेगा। जो दूसरी चेंज है वो है असाइलम सीकर्स के मुताबिक, जो लोग असाइलम के वीजे पे आते थे उनको पहले 5 साल वीजा मिलता था, रेफ्यूजी स्टेटस, तो फिर उसके बाद वो फिर इंडेफिनिट स्टे अप्लाई करते थे। अभी उन्होंने ये बोला कि अभी वो 30 मंथ का वीजा देंगे, तो शायद उसके बाद फिर वो रीअसेस करके एक्सटेंशन देंगे, लेकिन स्ट्रेट अवे 5 ईयर का वीजा नहीं मिलेगा जो असाइलम सीकर्स है। वो ये फिफ्थ ऑफ मार्च को ये इम्प्लीमेंट हो गया लॉ। और जो तीसरी तब्दीली है वो ये है कि जो स्टूडेंट आते हैं वो अभी स्टूडेंट वीजे को रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर रहे हैं सर्टेन कंट्रीज से। सो जो जो ना अफगानिस्तान है उधर से, और जो सूडान है, और जो एक और कंट्री थी जो है ना वो उसमें ये वो मैं अभी आपको बताती हूँ उस तीसरी कंट्री का नाम जो था, वो अफगानिस्तान और कामरून, म्यांमार और सूडान 4 कंट्रीज हैं। इन 4 कंट्रीज को इन्होंने रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर दिया है, दे वोंट बी गिविंग यू स्टूडेंट वीजा। So if anybody, if you can apply now, that will be is for people who've already made an application before the 1st of March. उनको तो वीजे मिल जाएंगे, लेकिन जो लोग अभी अप्लाई करेंगे उनको अफगानिस्तान, कामरून, म्यांमार और सूडान, इन 4 मुल्कों को स्टूडेंट वीजा अब नहीं मिलेगा। They're not going to give any of these countries student visas. So that's the 3 main changes that have actually come into force and they've become law. जो दूसरे कंसल्टेशंस आपको बताई थी वो जो कंट्रीज थे वो जो चेंजेस थे 10 साल का रूट, वो अभी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो रहे हैं। तो वो अभी उन्होंने बोला कि हम जो है ना जो आगे से क्योंकि जो आगे से ये कानून आस्ता-आस्ता एज़ इट गेट्स डिबेटेड इन द पार्लियामेंट और जैसे-जैसे ये कानून वोट्स मिलती हैं कि शुड इट बी लॉ, शुडन्ट बी लॉ, फिर उसके बाद ये कानून बनता है। तो फिर ये जो 12 फरवरी तक इन्होंने जो लोगों से कंसल्टेशन और अपनी जो ओपिनियंस माँगी थी, वो भी डिबेट हो रही हैं। तो उसके बाद ये जो 3-4 कानून बने हैं इस इन दिनों में, जो आगे के कानून है वो भी लेटर ऑन इन द ईयर अनाउंस कर देंगे। So you just have to keep up to date with the latest um, you know, latest rules. So what they did say was that they issuing student visas for the nationals of Afghanistan, Cameroon, Myanmar, and Sudan, and work visas for Afghans. So there's no work visas for Afghan visas. The purpose was to prevent them entering such visas and claiming asylum. क्योंकि उन मुल्क उनके कंट्रीज के हालात ठीक नहीं है, क्योंकि उनमें जंग और ये जो है ना खौफ फैली हुई है। So that when people come here on student visas or work visas, then they end up claiming asylum. So that's why they restricted that. So the rules did come in on the 5th of March, but they're going to come into force on the 26th of March. So if anybody has prepared an application from any of them countries and they want to make an application, you still can make that application up until the 26th of March. 26th of March के बाद वो ban लागू हो जाएगा. If you've already got a certificate of sponsorship and somebody's sponsoring a chef from Afghanistan or Sudan or any of them countries to come over, you put that application in before the 26th of March, then you can come and apply uh, under them countries. But after the 26th of March, 26 मार्च से बाद आप ये application student visa या work visa अफगानिस्तान, सूडान और वो जो दूसरी दो अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज हैं उनमें से नहीं आप डाल सकेंगे. Because last year they saw the second highest asylum case was 100,625 where asylum cases were from these countries. So that's why, for that reason, ये जो restrictions इन्होंने डाली है is to be able to restrict people coming here for other purposes. Yeah, and then applying for asylum. ये जो control है ना, इसको देखते हैं तो फिर इस वजह से इसको वो रुकावट डाल देते हैं. You can still apply for spouse visas. शादी को जो केस है उनमें उस पे कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है इन कंट्री से. She still can do that. It's only the student and the work visa for Afghanistan. सूडान का उन्होंने नहीं बोला कि शायद उसमें वहाँ के लोगों ने अप्लाई नहीं किया, लेकिन अफगानिस्तान से उन्होंने ये काफी हाई नंबर ऑफ लोगों ने आके इन दिनों में जो है ना आके asylum claim किया है. So main purpose for immigration control is to control the number of asylum seekers that are coming to this country and being a burden on the state. तो ये इस चीज को बैलेंस करने के लिए ये लोग जो है ना ये तब्दीलियां ला रहे हैं. So मैं आपको ये कोशिश कर रही हूँ, if you just joined us as well, listening to CVFM 104.5 FM. You can listen to us on the app, you're online on Facebook. And if anybody has any questions in relation to any of the changes or any other categories of immigration law, you can give us a WhatsApp message on our WhatsApp number 01642 688 104. So now I'll commence about our spouse applications. Spouse applications from any country for immigration purposes covered by the Appendix FM. Before April last year, the law was 18,600, which was the minimum financial requirement. But after April last year, the requirement has changed, and now the new law requires you from April to have a minimum income of 29,000. The Conservative government were going to increase this to 38,000. Gradually, it was going to go up to 32, 33, 38 by January last year. लेकिन लेबर गवर्नमेंट ने अपने मैनिफेस्टो में यही वादा किया है कि फिलहाल they've not said they're not going to increase it altogether, but they have put a pause in it, which is also quite difficult for हम बहन भाइयों के लिए भी बहुत मुश्किल है. हमारे बच्चे जो है ना, yes, they're studying at the same time, they've got student loans, they're trying to graduate, और 29,000 income की जो है ना income quite high है, जो आप मीट नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि minimum income, you know, in this country for doctors and teachers is not even that yet. So आप दुआई कर सकते हैं अल्लाह ताला आसानियां फरमाए. Yes, that is the law. There is some exemptions to this category, and I'll go into detail about them in the second part of this program. In the first part, I want to explain there's 4 categories that I always tell you that it's like a piece of jigsaw. 4 हिस्से होते हैं इस application को, जिसको आपने fulfill करने हैं, इनको पूरा करने हैं. It's a tick box exercise. अगर इसमें से एक हिस्सा भी complete ना हुआ, तो आपका case refuse हो सकता है. And it's a lot of money at the moment. तकरीबन पाकिस्तान का 10 लाख लग जाता है. इसमें ये application fees, you're looking at £5,000 UK money, where you're paying for these applications, because you've got the NHS charge, which is about 3,000 for cases that come from abroad, and then you've got the application fee. So you're about £5,000. That's if you go for the premium service, because £500 you can get a decision within 4 weeks, and if you go for the standard service, then the decision is within 12 weeks. So it depends on the service. So you're looking at £4,500 to £5,000, which is the fee. तो अगर फर्ज करो आप अपना एप्लीकेशन सही से आपने सही तरीके से नहीं डाला, तो ऐसे होता है कि ये केस रिफ्यूज हो जाता है. और अगर केस रिफ्यूज हो जाए तो फिर आपकी वीजा फीस तो जाती है, लेकिन आप जो है ना वो अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते. NHS फीस तो वापस मिल जाती है, लेकिन जो visa fees है वो ज़ाया हो जाती है. Then you're looking at an appeal. And appeals take, you know, about, I would say, a year and a half, a year. So इस वजह से तो पहले ये आपको एडवाइस देती हूँ हमेशा, और हर साल देती आई हूँ, कि प्लीज अपने डॉक्यूमेंट्स रश नहीं करें. अगर 1-2 हफ्ते महीना डिले हो जाता है केस, people get eager, they rush, they get upset, that, oh, ये ठीक नहीं है, I want to do it, it should have been granted by now. लोगों के वीजे लग गए हैं, लोगों के साथ शादियां हुई थी, वो आ गए हैं, क्लाइंट्स कहते हैं ये. लेकिन अगर 4 हफ्ते आपका केस डिले भी हो जाता है ना, कि आपके डॉक्यूमेंट्स ठीक तरह मुतमईन, तो ये आपको लॉन्ग रन में आपके लिए बेहतरी है. ये कि रश करके केस डालो, फिर उसको रिफ्यूजल आ जाता है, रिफ्यूजल के बाद फिर अपील 1.5 साल, वो तो फिर आपको आपकी फीस ज़ाया हो जाती है. तो इससे बेहतर है आप अपना केस ठीक करके तसल्ली से अपने जो है ना अच्छे तरीके से अपना केस डालें. तो जो 4 रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, वो मेन ये रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. एक तो आपके इंग्लिश टेस्ट, जैसे पहले आपको बताया है. So the spouse has to fulfill an English from the recognized body of the UK government. So IELTS ka jo, it's only a speaking and listening test, and it's a basic A1 test. And I know in countries you have to do a small course, and then you do the test, and it has to be a genuine certificate. उस पे आपकी तस्वीर लगी होती है, आपका स्कोर बैंड लगा होता है, पास लगा होता है, तो फिर उसके बाद वो उसकी बुनियाद जो होती है ना 2 साल होती है. So for them brothers and sisters and kids that are thinking, oh yes, we want to go next year and we're going to get married, they're already engaged, they're already waiting for their spouses, chatting to them and waiting to prepare to go to next year or end of this year. I always advise my clients to stop delaying matters, because if you, first of all, you already got the ball rolling of the English language test, it is valid for 2 years. That's the first thing that you should plan. So if the girl or boy don't have a passport, they need a passport made in their country of origin to be able to apply for the spouse visa. But then get it done prior to it. Now, हमारे बहन भाई and all our rural thinking is, oh God, the passport has to be made in the husband's name, so they don't get the passport made prior to marriage. Well, that thinking is incorrect, because a passport is mainly just an ID or a travel document. और इस्लाम में भी है कि आप अपने वालिद का नाम अगर आपके पासपोर्ट पे है तो उसमें कोई हर्ज नहीं है. Where we put our husband's name on the passports, that is just us by our choice. That's what we do. So that passport can be made well before you're going to go down and abroad to get married. Because if you've made the passport, that's the first step of the ladder. Then the next step is to do the course and the English test. So if you've got the English test in hand, and then you go and you get married, and you can apply for the visa straight away. If you haven't got the English test, once the marriages took place, फिर उसके बाद निकाहनामा आता है, then they think, oh yes, we need to apply for an ID card in the boy's name or the girl's name. Not only boys तो अपना नाम रखते हैं, जो लड़की होती है अब्रॉड उसका ज्यादा मसला होता है. उसके लिए वो कहते हैं कि ओ अब लड़की के नाम का हस्बैंड का आईडी कार्ड बने. फिर आईडी कार्ड के बाद वो कहते हैं कि अब पासपोर्ट भी लड़की का वालिद के नाम से हटके अब हस्बैंड के नाम का बने. तो फिर वो हस्बैंड के नाम का बन जाता है. फिर उसके बाद वो कोर्स शुरू करते हैं. दे स्टार्ट द कोर्स. Then a course के बाद then they start all the procedure. But no, that is incorrect, because the first thing that you need to do is get the passport made. After the passport, then you will then have the certificate, the course, pass the test, and then you've got time period of when the nikah nama is done. Then you can apply for the visa straight away, because that English test, like I said, is valid for 2 years. There's no restriction on you having that already processed. So then what I usually do is I advise my clients to make the application before. So first of all was the English test, which is the A1 test. Then secondly, what we advise is the financial requirement. Now, financial requirement can be in various categories. If you're applying in category A, then you are looking at 6 months salaried income, which is over and above 29,000, and that is with tax. So it's the gross amount. So when you have your pay slip and it shows you the gross amount, and then after that you have net pay, and net pay is where the money is going into the bank. It's not that amount. It's the amount that is the original amount, which is taxed. So your income for a spouse visa, like I said, is 29,000. So your monthly income should be at least 2,416 or over. So that is exactly 29,000. Because if you times that by 12, you get 29,000. And that's what you're going to be paying tax on. The 2,416 is the taxable amount. और इसको काट कटा के फिर आपके पास बचत शायद 2,000, you might be left with 2,000 or even less. I'm trying to speak in both languages, Urdu and English, because I know our generation, some of you don't understand Urdu and you don't understand, and then I've got the older generation who prefer me to speak in it. वो पसंद करते हैं कि मैं उर्दू में या बोलूं. But if you do have any specific questions, आपको कोई सवाल है, you can WhatsApp the studio on 01642 688 104. So as I was saying, that amount, you have to have that in category A for 6 months, which isn't varied. So for example, your income is 29,000, but because of your shift patterns, 1 month you're earning 2,000, the other month you're earning 1,000. The other month you got income of 3,000. So ye average varied ho gaya. That goes into a different category because that's category B, because that's income that you have to show for 12 months because your income wasn't the same. If your income is the same for 6 months, then you apply under category A. But if your income is varied or its average amount is different every month, the gross income, then you apply under category B. But you still show that you've got income, but then you need 1 year's documents, pay slips. But say, for example, people have just started a job, they need to do 6 months in that job and then you apply. Lekin agar aapko 2-3 saal ho gaye hain and you're working, and then all of a sudden you've got a pay rise. You were on 27,000, yes? And then all of a sudden, before you apply, you went to 30,000. You have to do 6 months on that 30,000. And the employer must also, आपके जो letter of employment है, उसमें ये चीज clarify करें कि आपकी जो income है from this month, because otherwise, if you did 6 months in the low income and then 6 months in the high income, they will then average that out for the 12 months and then you might have a shortfall. So जैसे आप मुझे सुन रहे हैं और आप सोच रहे हो कि हाँ हमने रेडियो पे सुनना था कि उसने बोला था 6 माह जाएं, लेकिन the most important point is your employment letter has to clarify when that pay rise took place. अभी इस point पे ही हम छोटा सा commercial break लेते हैं और इंशाल्लाह आपको मिलते हैं break के बाद.
104.5 CVFM.
Bus, let's break. Take a break.
Ramadan rise at Teesside.
Ramadan Mubarak from the team at Teesside School of Motoring. This holy month is about progress and patience. Whether you're just starting your journey or looking to fast-track your licence with an intensive course, Teesside School of Motoring is here for you. From manual and automatic lessons to expert theory training, we provide a stress-free experience in a friendly, professional environment. Serving the whole Teesside community, we help you drive with confidence. Male and female instructors are available to suit your needs.
Start your journey today. Call us on 077 12345 612 or book online at tsomotoring.co.uk. We also have Arabic speaking instructors so you can learn at ease. Teesside School of Motoring, driving your future.
Teesside School of Motoring.
Looking for safe professional care that helps you feel confident inside and out? Welcome to Aesthetichem, Aesthetics Clinic and Private Pharmacy, a new spacious and welcoming clinic run by a highly experienced pharmacist. We provide trusted pharmacy services including weight loss treatment, travel vaccinations, men's sexual health, men's hair loss, period delay, facial hair removal, care for rosacea, acne and other clinical skincare. Our aesthetics service includes anti-aging treatment, lip fillers, skin peels and vitamin treatments, all delivered in a calm and professional environment. We also have clinic rooms to rent for practitioners with complimentary services. Based at 18 Norton Road, Stockton-on-Tees. Please contact 01642 051 351. Email hello@aesthetichem.co.uk or visit our website. Aesthetichem, professional care that you can trust.
This Ramadan, make your iftar more meaningful with food that feeds the soul.
आज इफ्तार का क्या प्लान है?
Soul of Peri Peri. Iftar bilkul sorted hai.
At Soul of Peri Peri, enjoy mouth-watering peri-peri flavors, perfect for sharing after a long day of fasting.
Namaz ke baad, garam, fresh aur zabardast khana.
Visit 184 Linthorpe Road, Middlesbrough. Branch also at 168 Northgate, Darlington. Or call us on 01642 668 021.
रमजान का असली मजा सोल ऑफ पेरी पेरी के साथ.
Also available on Just Eat and Uber Eats. Soul of Peri Peri. Food for your soul this Ramadan.
Ramadan, the soul of Peri Peri, gather round close.
Hello, Ellie here. Let me introduce you to Smoothprint.
Whether you need business cards, brochures for your startups, or posters to announce your grand opening, perhaps design a logo to further promote your business. We can do it all and much more in a record time and at affordable prices.
Smoothprint is your local professional design and print business specializing in shop signage and vehicle graphics.
Our team of professional graphic designers will ensure that your corporate image and values are shown in a memorable, charming way, while the state-of-the-art digital printing technology we use will impress your business partners and potential customers and will add to your competitive edge.
Smoothprint. Telephone 01642 688 400 or order online at www.smoothprint.co.uk.
Your food specialist.
Looking for the freshest halal meat, frozen food and exotic fruits and vegetables? Look no further. Visit Kashmir Food Store at 115 to 123 Abingdon Road, Middlesbrough.
हमारे पास हर वो चीज मौजूद है जिसकी आपको जरूरत है और इसके साथ हर किस्म के बर्तन, पतीले, डिनर सेट और घर के सामान भी दस्तयाब है.
From fresh Pakistani mangoes to premium basmati rice, chapati flour, cooking oils, spices and daily essentials, we have everything you need for your kitchen. Kashmir Food Store. Call 01642 242426 for more information.
Kashmir Food Store, your local food specialist.
इफ्तार की तैयारी और वही भागदौड़. जल्दी जल्दी समोसे तलना, खजूरें सजाना और फल काटना. मगरिब से पहले शदीद भूख और टेबल सेट करने की वो अफरा तफरी. पहली खजूर, खुशियों का शोर और हाथों हाथ बढ़ती इफ्तार की रौनक. रमजान को खास बनाते हैं यही लम्हे और रेमिटली के जरिए घर पैसे भेजकर मैं इन रौनकों को यूं ही बरकरार रखती हूँ. रमजान मुबारक. हर ट्रांसफर अपनों को और करीब लाए. रेमिटली यूके लिमिटेड इज ऑथराइज्ड एंड रेगुलेटेड बाय द FCA.
रोजा खोलने का टाइम हो गया? Head down to Burrow Pizza in Middlesbrough. Iftar special from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. Collection only. Any 10-inch pizza for £5.99 or any 12-inch pizza सिर्फ £6.99. Garam, fresh और halal. Perfect after a long fast. Hosting an iftar gathering? Baro Pizza बनाए आपका दस्तरखान और भी खास. पिज्जा के अलावा पारमोस, कबाब्स और क्रिस्पी फ्राइड चिकन भी अवेलेबल है. प्लस मील डील्स भी हैं. Call 01642-251-125. Visit 180 Linthorpe Road, Middlesbrough. Check the full menu at barropizzahouse.co.uk. आज का इफ्तार बरो पिज्जा के साथ.
Keep it locked to 104.5 CVFM.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome back after the break. You with me, Naila Yousaf, with the Immigration Special Program. और आप मेरे साथ you can get in touch with us. ये प्रोग्राम 4 बजे तक है. हम every Saturday 3 से 4 तक ये प्रोग्राम लेकर हाजिर होते हैं. और ये आप हमारे WhatsApp नंबर पे 01642 688 पे WhatsApp कर सकते हैं. और ये आप लाइव 104.5 FM पे सुन रहे हैं. और आप YouTube और स्मार्ट टीवी पे भी अभी ये टीज मुस्लिम मीडिया लाइव पे भी सुन सकते हैं. तो जैसे भी ब्रेक से पहले मैं आपको कुछ इमिग्रेशन के मुताबिक तब्दीलियों के बारे में बता रही थी कि we've got the B1 test changing to B2 next March, and there are some countries that are restricted and the refugee duration of the applications, visas, that asylum seekers will be given limited refugee status from previous laws. So, जैसे ब्रेक से पहले मैंने आपको इंग्लिश टेस्ट और फाइनेंशियल रिक्वायरमेंट के बारे में मैं आपको बता रही थी फॉर स्पाउस वीजा. So 6 months wage slip, 6 months bank statements, employment letter, and there's 4 important categories that has to be points that have to be written on the employment letter, which must state what your annual wage is, whether it's a permanent job, how long you've been working, the start date, and also it's the salary on there as well, and it must state what your salary is. So the employment letter has validity of 28 days. So you must have it done within 28 days of when you're applying. And then if you've been working longer than a year and you cross April, then you will have the P60. P60 must be, it's one of the, you get your appendix, जैसे हमारे driving के कानून होते हैं. So you have the DSA, the DVLA tells you, the laws tell you that you have to drive 50 on this road, 70 on this road, 30 on this road, and you abide by, because it's written in the law, what you can't do on double yellow lines. ऐसे ही ये immigration के law हैं, और ये they are written and embedded into the appendix FM. तो इस कानून में ये लिखा गया है ये requirement आपने ये requirement पूरी करनी है. You have to fulfill all of them. If you have something which is missing, like for example, it says you need 6 months pay slips or 1 year's pay slips, and you only put 5 months in, or you put your P60 in, even though आपकी income 29,000 है, you will still get refused because you didn't put one in. It's called the specified evidence. अगर वो evidence आपने miss कर दी है, उस वजह से वो refuse कर देते हैं. Mashallah, the UK visa section are quite good. If you accidentally don't upload or you don't send a document and they know, the caseworker knows, it depends on the caseworker as well, that you do meet the requirements and you've missed something out, they do send an email to say, oh, you've missed this out, can you send it to us? So they do give you that second chance. But don't wait for that second chance. First of all, you need to give all the correct document and the specified evidence for the application. The third piece of jigsaw is the accommodation. So the accommodation, it doesn't have to be owned property. Like, सबके दिमाग में ये होता है कि, oh, I have to buy a house, I have to get a mortgage, I have to do this, and then I'm going to apply for my spouse to come over. नहीं. अगर आप rented accommodation में भी रह रहे हैं, आपके पास tenancy agreement है, आपका landlord आपको कह रहा है कि आपको इजाजत है आपके स्पाउस इधर आके सेम रेंट में रह सकता है तो वो भी आप यूज कर सकते हैं. If you are living in property which is mortgaged, you can stay on that. Or if you're still living with parents, parents के साथ आप रह रहे हैं और आपका कमरा है, because what they look at is with the Housing Act 1985, there can't be any overcrowding in the property. ये भी एक कानून है. So जैसे अगर आपके घर में 3 कमरे हैं और 12 लोग रह रहे हैं उस कमरे में, जो स्पाउस आपका उधर से आ रहा है उसके लिए उस घर में जगह नहीं है. They haven't got space to stay in there. Then they said there's going to be overcrowding in the property. Yeah, but you can still stay in a rented accommodation. So you can rent a property before you both, जैसे husband wife आता है तो आप उधर आके तो then they start living together, then they save up money to buy a house together. So meanwhile you can go in rented accommodation. Now where you're looking and applying with the Appendix FM and the 29,000, पहले तो ऐसे होता था कि अगर आपकी income है on top, you have to show that you've got enough money to pay a mortgage, you've got enough money to pay for finances, for council tax and bills. But this 29,000 includes everything. So it includes your council tax, includes your mortgage, includes any bills. So you're not having to include that expense on top of that 29,000. That's only if you're applying under the exemption category. If I get time at the end, I will go through that exemption category as well. So we do advise people don't apply for the exemption category unless you fall under that. So we will advise you of the exemption category because there's certain ways you can be exempt from applying with the 29,000 if you are able to do that. So as I was saying, the application for the accommodation, you will need a property inspection report. You need the ownership proof, whether it's mortgage, whether it's the land registry. So you need the ownership proof, and at the same time, you need a proper authority letter if you're living with parents. The property inspector, which is a certified estate agent, can do a report for you, or you can get it done from your local council if they still do it. You will they will inspect the property, ask how many people live in the house, and they can actually tell you whether because they do a measurement of all the rooms and the ages of the people in the house, and they can tell you whether that property, they will write on that it's suitable for occupancy and it's not going to be no overcrowding on the arrival of the immigrant. So that letter is very, very important. Say you show everything else, but you don't put that letter in the property, it's another part. Again, it's a specified evidence. So you will risking getting refused because you didn't apply with that specified evidence. So fourthly is which is equally as important, I always emphasize, as the financial requirement. So ये जो 2 requirements है ना, accommodation और English language, ये तो काफी straight forward है. इनमें कोई ऐसी ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं है. लेकिन जहाँ आपका स्पाउस वीजा है, उसमें जहाँ रिलेशनशिप का प्रूफ है और फाइनेंस का प्रूफ है, ये दोनों बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रिंजेंट रिक्वायरमेंट्स है. जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया हुआ है कि अगर आप इनमें से कोई भी पीस छोड़ देते हैं, you risk your application getting refused. So if you've just joined us, हम जो immigration की requirements है spouse visa और Appendix FM के हवाले से, we're just going through a few details, and alhamdulillah, like I always say, you have this free opportunity, free advice, from CVFM, जिसके लिए हम शुक्रगुजार है कि ये हमें मौका देते हैं कि हम जो है ना हर साल आपको तफसील से इमिग्रेशन के मुताबिक एडवाइस दे सकते हैं. और जो 4th कैटेगरी है, जैसे आपको मैंने बताया रिलेशनशिप का है, उस relationship के requirement में you have to show the you are in a genuine and subsisting relationship. So उसमें ये नहीं है कि आपने ये शो करना है कि आप जो है ना एक दूसरे से बात करते हैं, एक दूसरे से WhatsApp पे messages, and this is the point where I always say to people, please, you know, keep your WhatsApp messages backed up. Because, you know, with the phones, sab kuch, it gets lost, it gets, you know, everything gets lost. So we always say back up your phone. You can email and export it to yourself, and you can put it in your, you can save it into your system. So then for when you apply, and now saving the trees and saving paper, nothing has to be printed out. You just have to send it to the Home Office, send it to your lawyer, send it to them over email, and then they can upload it to the Home Office with your WhatsApp chat and what you require. So जैसे finance की तरह, you need evidence of your marriage, that the marriage took place and it was a registered marriage. And secondly, you show that you've been in contact with each other regularly. So from the date of marriage or from when the relationship started, because these application पे ये questions लाजमी होते हैं. अगर फर्ज करो उस पे ये question होता है कि आपका रिश्ता कब शुरू हुआ है, और आपने लिखा है कि हमारा रिश्ता 2020 से शुरू हुआ था, और आप अपना प्रूफ सिर्फ 1 माह का डाल रहे हैं, तो वो बोलेंगे आपने अपना प्रूफ नहीं दिया कि आप पिछले 5 साल से कह रहे हैं कि आपका रिश्ता कायम था, लेकिन you did not give us proof that you were in contact with each other during that time. So it's very, very important that that is justified and it's evidenced, that when your relationship starts, you put your evidence from that relationship. Or जैसे कि you need to have, maslan, you have to have sufficient contact with each other. So you have to have pictures with each other. The pictures have to show that you're in genuine, like you've been, जब शादी की तस्वीरें होती हैं साथ में, you've been out with each other, you've sent like you've got a list which where you've had pictures, you've been out for a meal, खाना खाने के लिए गए हैं, या आप अपने से, you know, you've been out for a honeymoon or after the marriage, तो वो भी तस्वीरें हैं. So you will put all the evidence together and compile evidence to show that you're in a genuine subsisting relationship. Because if you can't prove that, then you're risking not being able to fulfill that piece of the jigsaw and getting that piece granted. So जैसे कि आपको बताया, आपने उनको तफसील से ये बताना कि you've got photos, contact, SIM registration in the husband and wife's name. You have to show the phone number, which phone number that you've been contacting each other. We have girls abroad that don't, you know, have their SIM on their name because they don't go out. And I know everything's changed now, Joanna. Things have changed. जैसे पहले होता था कि in categories में ये कि people used to, you know, not go out, but now fathers and brothers used to have SIMs on their name. But when you're about to get married or you're proposing to apply, ये ज़रूरी है कि जो SIM है ना वो लड़की या लड़के के नाम हो. You have to give evidence that you were physically present in that country. So जो लड़का या लड़की इधर से गए हैं, उनके passport के copies with their entry and exit stamps. If it's a previous marriage, now this is a very, very important point that I want to make, that a lot of my clients and a lot of people are making, even inquiries that I'm receiving at this point to do with immigration, is where you've had a previous marriage and you haven't had a divorce, an English divorce, और इस divorce के पहले लोग पाकिस्तान जाके या बांग्लादेश या किसी मुल्क में जाके शादी कर आते हैं, फिर वापस आते हैं और कहते हैं हमने अपना वीजा अप्लाई करना है, हमारी next week English divorce हो रही है. That application is not a valid application if you're applying under the spouse category. If you're going to apply for a fiance, which is a very hard category to fulfill. फिर वो different requirement होता है because fiancé में वो आपका legally married नहीं है, लेकिन अगर आपकी divorce अभी English divorced हुई नहीं है और आप ये सोच रहे हैं कि हम जाके शादी कराते हैं, निकाह तो English इस्लामी तलाक तो हमने दे दी है, इस्लामी तलाक हो गई है, तो अभी हम दोबारा से जाके तो अपनी शादी करने के लिए जा रहे हैं, we're going to go and have a wedding and then we're going to come back and apply for the spouse visa. That is totally wrong. The reason being is because you're not legally in the English law ready to marry in another country to register that marriage and apply for the spouse visa until you've received your decree absolute. Your decree absolute ki date and first if it's 31st of January 2025 or 2026, your new nikah nama has to be dated after that date. It can't be before that date. Because if you do it before that date, it's not recognized in UK law because you are still legally in the English marriage married to your previous partner in this country under that law. So then you must wait till you get your decree absolute, then go and do a marriage. So what if, I've got a question, what if I've already done it? And I think some of you might already have this question in your head, that what if we've already done that we've gone abroad, we've got married, we never received our decree absolute, and we're about to apply for the visa. In this situation, what you have to do is, you have to then, for paperwork reasons, is go and do another nikah nama and register your marriage again in your union council. Get the first one cancelled out and get that one registered and only apply with the second one post dating the decree absolute. The pre-dating one will not be accepted. It will show when your relationship started. You can explain on your application that you weren't aware of the situation and be honest about it. Where we try to hide information, lie information, that causes us more problems. So you have to be honest about it. Yes, I wasn't aware. I went and re-registered the marriage and this is the genuine certificate. And you just have to do that and then your application will be accepted. लेकिन जहां आप predated decree absolute से निकाहनामा पेश करते हैं, your application will be refused. And even if you appeal and even if you go to court, it won't be accepted क्योंकि appeal उस base पे होती है जहां आप सच सही थे और होम ऑफिस एंटी क्लियरेंस ऑफिसर ने आप वो गलती से रिफ्यूज किया है, उस पॉइंट पे अपील होती है. Because you might get, oh, ये कोई लॉयर ने बताया कि हम अपील डाल सकते हैं, हमने अपील डाल दी है, अभी उसका हमारा वेट है. नहीं, अगर आप कोर्ट में भी जाएंगे आपका उस पॉइंट पे केस रिफ्यूज हो जाएगा. Reason being because you at the time of the application, your application was not valid. Because you must submit a valid application because you were still legally married in English law to the previous spouse. So I hope that's benefited a lot of people who are, inshallah, nobody's getting divorced, no divorces are going through, and everybody's happily married, alhamdulillah. But just a point where if you're in this situation, you know what to do. Joanna, again, it's a first time marriage. All you need is the marriage certificate with the English translation. The Urdu ki copy nahi dalni, or please check for spelling mistakes on your application and date of birth, because jahan wo translate करते हैं किसी वक्त वो date of birth गलत कर देते हैं या वो you must check these things with a fine line to say that it's all correct. And if it's a second marriage, then you need a divorce certificate, wedding photographs, evidence of sim ownership, like I previously said. Now, your holiday pictures and your wedding photos don't have to be printed out on photographic paper. You can just have them emailed over because everything is uploaded onto the system now. So you don't need to have, or if you already have them in a hard copy, they have to be scanned and uploaded onto the system now because everything is online now. It's an online application, it's an online portal where you are submitting the documentation. Or same screenshots of calls from both sides. The onus is on the applicant that is applying to the anti-clearance officer to come to this country. So you must show screenshots of regular calls. Don't do missed calls. Don't do like you expected minimum to be able to talk to each other about 2 to 3 times a week. So at least 2 to 3. I know we probably talk 2 to 3 times a day, and we have calls for hours and hours. But you are expected to be working at the same time and earning 29,000. So you should be on the phone all the time. So then the income level has to show that you are there working. Because if you're showing call durations on that time, it might doubt the anti-clearance officer's mind that you are, not applying genuinely. Because why are you talking for so long? What time are you working? So then you've got screenshots of the calls, which are available from both sides. There again, it's important that you take screenshots as you're going along, because ये technology, phones, इनका कोई भरोसा नहीं है. Because even though they are the best thing on the world now for everybody, they are the where we can lose data. We will lose information. So it's been really nice, going the time कैसे गुजरा हम पता ही नहीं चला, ये घंटा इतना जल्दी से गुजर गया. So we are going for the Asr Azan now, and I will be leaving you at this point. Inshallah, next week I will join you again. अगर जिंदगी रहती हो 3 से 4 के दरमियान. And if you have any questions during the week, you can message them on the studio's number. Like I said, 01642688104. And inshallah, I know a lot of you have my private number, and I'm receiving a lot of private messages, and I do get back to you in relation to that as well. But it's nice if you message on the studio's number so I can answer on that number. So then शायद आपके सवाल से किसी और को भी बेहतरी किसी और का भी की अच्छाई हो जाए, जो है ना. इंशाल्लाह अगली वीक मिलते हैं. अल्लाह हाफिज.
Assalamu alaikum, listeners. You tuned in to CVFM on this special afternoon show during Ramadan. It is now time for the Asr Azan. The Azan is brought to you in association with Mr. T's in Middlesbrough. हमारी दुआ है कि अल्लाह ताला इनके कारोबार में बरकत डाले. आमीन सुम आमीन. अजान समाअत फरमाएं.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله